The Galactic Academy for Advanced Species proudly held the title of the most prestigious institution in all 12 sectors of civilized space. Its crystalline spires pierced the carefully maintained atmosphere of Nexus Prime, each tower pulsing with the distilled knowledge of 1,000 starfaring civilizations. Inside Lecture Hall 88B, kept at a precise 293.15 Kelvin, because apparently even temperature had to be pretentious, Professor Vexari prepared to deliver what he deemed the most enlightening lecture of the semester. And so, gentle beings, his translator buzzed, converting ultrasonic chirps into something more comprehensible, we arrive at the topic of primitive combat tactics. His 6 eyes swiveled independently across the classroom, radiating the smug confidence only a species with multiple visual cortexes could muster. These antiquated methods of warfare, still inexplicably practiced by certain under-evolved species, demonstrate clearly violence is the refuge of the intellectually deficient. The classroom, a marvel of interspecies design, accommodated everything from gaseous nebuloids to crystalline quartzians. Adjustable gravity fields and breathable atmospheric pockets ensured comfort, unless, of course, you were a bipedal mammal with, as the medical texts politely put it, substantial gluteal padding. In the very back, perched on what might generously be called a chair, but more accurately a torture device, sat the room's most notorious anomaly. While classmates hovered, floated, or flickered through quantum states, she merely sat, breathing oxygen, like some sort of savage. Zara Chen, the Academy's sole human, was a master of being both the most dangerous and the least noticed entity in any room. At 5'8", she was unremarkable by human standards, but here she might as well have been a pocket-sized apex predator. Her black hair, tied in a regulation bun, gave the impression it could snap into combat mode in under 3 seconds. Her uniform, designed by committee to fit all known species, draped over her frame with a kind of resigned confusion. But what truly defined her wasn't her build or presence, it was her silence. In 4 months, Zara had spoken exactly 17 words in class. A betting pool had formed around what her 18th might be. 3 probability-based species were making a killing. Now, then, Professor Vexari continued, his tendrils waving with academic flair, let us examine the so-called tactics of Deathworld species. A hologram flickered to life. 2 groups of beings appeared, clubbing each other with pointed sticks. As you can see, these primitive tactics rely on brute confrontation. Barbaric, truly. Zara's left eyebrow twitched. To the empath, 2 rows ahead. This was the emotional equivalent of a full breakdown. They made a mental note to up their anxiety meds. Deathworlders, the professor added, in a tone normally reserved for mold infestations, evolved on planets defined by hostile climates, high gravity, and constant predation. Such environments bred species who think every problem is best solved with explosions or punching. His middle eye swiveled toward the back. Though I'm certain our resident human can attest that her kind has mostly evolved beyond such impulses. 47. Various optical organs turned toward Zara. She returned their gaze with the same unreadable expression she'd worn since day 1. The cryptoids had written 3 dissertations on what they dubbed the Chen Enigma. Barbaric, muttered Rick's Theater, a mantis-like scorian. We solved conflict with interpretive dance eons ago. At least dancing takes rhythm, grumbled Quills 9, a gelatinous blobian. We transcended violence through meditation and snacks. Professor Vexari ignored the commentary. And that, students, is why Deathworld species lagged behind in galactic progress. While we developed quantum tunneling, they were, what's the phrase, hitting rocks to make better rocks. The class erupted in a chaotic chorus of laughter. To Zara, it sounded like a synthesizer being thrown down a stairwell. She tapped her desk once. A microkinetics major in the front row fainted. Another hologram appeared, this time a human military unit. Observe their reliance on projectiles and chemical explosives. Even their advanced doctrines involve terms like force multiplication. In essence, creative ways to make more explosions. To be fair, said a brave tentaculum named Zorp. Humans did make it to space without destroying themselves. A statistical fluke, Vexari sniffed. Most Deathworlders self-destruct before interstellar travel. That humans survived. Their nuclear age is evidence not of wisdom, but of cosmic sarcasm. Zara's hand twitched toward her datapad. 17 recording devices flagged the motion as significant. The professor brought up a new display. Her admission file. Yes, we at the Academy believe in inclusion, Vexari said, tone dripping with contempt. Which brings us to our human student. The room studied Zara's profile. Species human, Homo sapiens. Homeworld, Earth. Classification, Deathworld. Category 9.7 risk level. Extreme special requirements. Reinforced furniture, explosion-proof dormitory, weapons checks. Daily. Her. Admission had nearly caused an intergalactic incident. Back then, a Voidkeeper ambassador had blinked in and out of dimensions while protesting, a 9.7 Deathworlder in our academy? We might as well invite a black hole to teach gravitational theory. The human ambassador, expression unreadable, countered smoothly. She passed every test, top marks, and she completed our diplomatic program, combat training included. Cultural exchange, she added when questioned. Think of her as a case study. Now in the present, Vexari reached his rhetorical crescendo. And so, students, let us agree. Primitive warfare has no place in the modern galaxy. The lights flickered crimson. Emergency protocols kicked in with all the elegance of a toaster, on fire. Attention all students, the calm AI announced. Hostile fleet approaching, this is not a drill, repeat. We regret to inform you we never actually programmed for this not being a drill. Panic. Zara stood. The room froze. She walked to the window. Calm, controlled, eyes fixed on the approaching hegemony fleet. Ms. Chen, Vexari stammered. Please sit. The protocol is to file a complaint with the Galactic Council. Zara turned, finally speaking. You may want to take notes, Professor, she said. Class is about to get practical. And for the first time, her classmates understood. It wasn't the muscles, or the weapons, or even the Deathworld. It was the look in her eyes when things got interesting. Sector 21, shouted one student. We should hide in the cafeteria, suggested another, apparently prioritizing snacks over survival. Meanwhile, Professor Vexari had abandoned all pretense of academic composure. Using all 6 limbs, he simultaneously ran, flailed, and dictated his last will and testament into his communicator. To my spawn siblings, I leave my collection of ancient Earth literature, including those bizarre documents called warranties, which humans apparently treat as legally binding. Through the chaos walked Zara Chen. She moved with unhurried purpose as though operating on a completely different set of priorities. Her path was direct, her breathing controlled, her expression changed, no longer the politely bored student, but something else entirely, something the others didn't recognize consciously but their instincts did. Predator. Wrong way, human, called a rolling Orbian as it zipped past her. Escape pods are... I know, Zara replied calmly, not breaking stride. I'm going somewhere else. She turned down a maintenance corridor that most students didn't know existed, past signs reading, authorized personnel only, dangerous machinery ahead. Abandon hope. All ye who enter here, but please sign the visitor log. The Academy's defense center was buried deep within the facility, secure not because of impenetrable security, but because anyone who should have been guarding it was currently arguing over which escape pod was least likely to explode. Zara's footsteps echoed down empty corridors lined with dire warnings in 17 languages, including 2 that communicated solely through pulsating color. At the final checkpoint, a flickering screen read, "Military personnel only. Violators will be prosecuted and/or vaporized depending on budget." She pressed her palm to the biometric scanner. It hesitated. Human life form detected. You are not authorized for... Oh, dear. According to my database, humans are classified as military personnel by default. This seems like an oversight. Processing. A pause. Act granted, I suppose. Please try not to break anything expensive. The blast doors groaned open, revealing the nerve center of the Academy's defenses. Advanced tech, underused to the point someone had clearly eaten lunch on the tactical holotable. Inside, Chief Security Coordinator Thrixville was undergoing what humans would call a nervous breakdown, though his species expressed it via increasingly erratic color changes. He currently resembled an anxious rainbow suffering a rash. Who are you? Why is a human here? This is a restricted zone. Zara scanned the consoles. Your defense grid's operating at 12% efficiency. Shield generators are miscycled. Your targeting software's using outdated algorithms. Also, your primary fire control has a gaming subroutine. High score Janitor Bot 7. Impressive. That's classified. Thrixville gasped. You need clearance to know we're at 12%. The manual says it should be 15. Another explosion shook the building. The holo display updated. 3 more. Hegemony destroyers inbound. We have treaties. Thrixville sputtered. The Galactic Council will issue protests, sanctions. They'll face stern paperwork within 6 to 8 standard cycles. They're launching drop pods, Zara said, pointing at the tactical readout. Ground assault incoming. Your defense grid has major holes here, here, and here. Classic dispersal pattern. Beachheads converging on the Academy. That's not possible. Our grid was designed by top military theorists. It's impenetrable. Your theorists, Zara replied, designed it for civilized warfare. Treaty-compliant attacks. Announced offensives. The hegemony skipped that memo. The defense AI chimed in. I am currently experiencing an existence crisis. If I destroy these ships, am I not destroying potential consciousness? Are we not all merely contemplating star stuff? Exactly why humans separate the philosophical subroutines from the shooty bits, Zara muttered, already taking manual control. Thrixville gaped. You're using manual controls? Your AI is busy having an existential breakdown. I'm busy saving your school. Lasers fired. Explosions blossomed across the display. You're using point defense. Lasers for anti-personnel? That's not their function. No, Zara said. But they're really good at it. Drop pods became fireworks. The rest scattered, clearly unprepared for actual resistance. Zara didn't let up. They'll try a flank next, she said. Standard hegemony doctrine. Probe, analyze, exploit. How do you know? The display showed enemy units flanking. Because military doctrine is like fashion, she said. Everyone thinks they're being original. They're just remixing the classics. The rest of the defense was a blur. Philosophy. Gardens booby-trapped. Sprinkler systems turned to flamethrowers. Janitor bots armed with mining lasers and reclassified as multi-robo assets. Within an hour, the invading force, armed with the finest tech in the galaxy, was in full retreat, having been outmaneuvered by one human with a gift for battlefield improvisation and a strong disregard for landscaping. Campus security showed up as Zara powered down the systems. She filed the most passive-aggressive after-action report in Academy history. The next morning, classes resumed. Zara sat in the back row, quiet as ever, taking notes. Professor Vexari, still slightly color-shifted from his supply closet existential crisis, cleared his throat. Today's lecture will revise yesterday's topic, he said. It appears we've underestimated primitive tactics. The holo display activated, showing a case study now titled, How Everything We Thought We Knew Was Wrong. A Tactical Analysis. From the back row, Zara quietly added a note to her datapad. Those who fail to adapt doctrine to reality will find reality adapting it for them. And just like that, the girl who silenced an army returned to her favorite state, silence.